This is The Good Government Show.
You go, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you flush your toilet, you don't think about how that water gets to your house. I fell into public service. I didn't grow up saying, ooh, I want to serve, the people of where I live. That's not part of my job description. It was just a need that I saw. The more people understand the why behind something, even if they don't like it, you're being transparent. This is why we have to do this. And I think if you communicate and be transparent, it works. A lot of times people just want to come in my office and complain. They don't really want you to fix anything. They just want to get it off their chest. And I'm okay with that. We don't believe in just meeting the standard. We go above and beyond.
No one wakes up one day and says, I want to work in the sewers. But yet we all want to have clean water, indoor flush toilets, and we don't want to think about it. But think about it. Every time you turn on your shower or you flush, someone in your city made sure that happened. Welcome to The Good Government Show. I'm Dave Martin. First, help us share the message of good government by liking us and sharing us where we are on social media. Make sure to review us and share our show everywhere. We all need to talk about good government. Kelli Bentley is the Human Resources Manager for the Anniston, Alabama Waterworks and Sewer Board. It's up to her to make sure that the Water and Sewer Department is fully staffed. And as she will tell you, it's not an easy job. I mean, who wants to work in the sewer? Well, someone has to, and it can get a little pungent, and she will tell you that. But there are some really great benefits, too. Kelli was recently honored by the National Academy for Public Administration as one of the 250 government champions. These are people that staff city halls across the country. They keep the water clean, keep the roads paved, they work on fire trucks, and generally they do the work and the not glamorous or headline-attracting work, well, that makes all our lives better. I wanted to hear from that person who starts someone in a career in public service and what that means. How do you convince someone to work in public service and what's kept her in government for the 23 years she's been doing it? So coming up, a profile on public service and how Kelli Bentley, Anniston, Alabama's HR manager, brings other people into government. That's next. HelloNation is our partner here at The Good Government Show. This is a new direction from CGI Digital. HelloNation is CGI's new online digital magazine that showcases the best of cities across the nation. We'd all prefer if good news traveled faster. At HelloNation, positive stories don't just get told, they get amplified. HelloNation helps businesses, leaders, and communities share positive stories that matter, building trust, credibility, and meaningful connection. Through professionally produced podcasts, digital features, and targeted distribution, HelloNation positions you as the answer regular folks are looking for, while expanding and scaling your digital footprint across the platforms that people trust. Good news deserves momentum. Your city or your business can help spread the word of good news across the nation. At HelloNation, they don't have advertisers, they have advertisers. Editorial content from trusted community leaders and cities that are spreading the good news. Let HelloNation lift you up and lead the conversation. That's HelloNation. Once you wrap up this episode of The Good Government Show, give a listen to our friends over at Good News for Lefties. This daily podcast highlights news stories that show there's more good news out there. Other people in government are really trying to do the right thing. That's Good News for Lefties. Listen where you're listening now. Welcome to The Good Government Show. I'm happy to have with me Kelli Bentley. She is the Human Resources Manager for the Anniston Waterworks and Sewer Board of Anniston, Alabama. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're welcome. And the reason why you're here is because you are a National Academy of Public Administration government champion. You're one of the 250 people across America that the National Academy of Public Administration cited as being public service workers that they wanted to feature. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I am going to read something to you that James Christian Blockwood, the president and CEO of the National Academy, said. He said, "These 250 champions are truly special and make a difference in our everyday lives." So how do you do that?
Well, I've been in this business a long time, and I just try to treat the people that work for us the way I wish somebody had treated me at the beginning of my career. So to be appreciated, to be heard, all of those things in a servant type leadership.
So you are the HR director for the Waterworks and Sewer Board. So it's your job to bring people in and to manage them. How long have you been doing this?
Let's see. I've been at this entity for 4 years, but I've been doing this for a little over 20 years.
And if folks can't see everything, I see you in your room. You've got a big human resources sign painted on your wall, and it says HR Specialist Drive. So you're in the right place.
I'm in the right place, yes.
So, in talking about, government, the 250 government champions for the National Academy, one of the things that we try to do is we try to talk a little bit about public service. And when we sat down, when we met in Philadelphia at the ceremony, I said, how's it going? And you said, oh my God, it's hard to get people to come work it. So what's the challenge right now in hiring people to come into public service? And, specifically in your role at Waterworks and Sewer Board, I'm sure no one is waking up or is thinking in high school, I want to work in the sewers.
Well, the first thing is this particular utility genre, if you will, people just don't think about it. You go, you brush your teeth, you take a shower, you flush your toilet, you don't think about how that water gets to your house. Most people that work in this field either have a family member that has worked in this field or some type of connection personally. Because if you go into high schools or colleges, nobody's thinking about, hey, I want to be a utility worker for a water entity. Power's a little different because you see power, they want to be a line worker, that kind of thing. So first of all is getting that out there to the public, getting it to the potential employees, is letting them know about this career. The second thing is competing against the private sector. We can't compete salary-wise, with a private. There are privatized water utilities. We can't compete with them because we are not for profit. So we depend on our revenue we feed everything back into our system to update machinery, plants, plus pay the salaries of our employees. We try to offer a really healthy benefit package. But when you're in your 20s, you don't care about retirement or health insurance. That's just not something you're looking at.
No.
You want to know when you got to work, how much you're going to make, and is there any overtime?
Okay. So comparing government service to private service or, working in the private sector, what's the reaction from someone who says, well, we have an opening in our sewer department?
See, I'm actually hiring right now for my sewer department. And
so if you're listening and you need a job in Alabama, go up to Anniston. Yeah. There's a good chance you get hired.
Exactly.
All right.
And, honestly, one of the first things I've done since I came here is I take pictures of what we actually do. Because you can tell somebody you're going to work in the sewer, and the first thing they think of is, oh, I'm going to be covered in poop all day,
Right.
That can happen.
While that can happen.
Yes, but it's not like you're waiting around waist deep in, sewer all day.
Right.
So I do show pictures and, show the type of machinery we use and the things like that. But if you've got a sensitive smell that's going to make you, it's not for you.
So how do you sell public service?
Really, it's you're looking for that person that's wanting a career. If they're looking to make a quick buck, this is not for them.
Yes.
And I'm just upfront about that. But
how do you convince someone? Someone comes into your office and says, "Hey, I see you have an opening at the Waterworks." And then you say, well, it's going to be water, it's going to be sewer, it's going to be a combination. They go, what's the pitch that you use for someone to, entice them to understand that public service is, noble and helpful?
Well, our mission is to provide the quality drinking water. And I pitch a lot about our culture. It's a great place to work, the flexibility, the things that our board does for our employees. You pitch all the good stuff first.
Right. So what is, if you're a young guy or a man or woman and you're looking for a career, what is it about public service that is the most attractive, do you think?
It differs from person to person.
But generally speaking,
Yeah, generally speaking, our work hours. You don't have any weekend work unless there's an emergency. They rotate on call, so they know they don't have to, your weekends, your Friday and Saturday nights are going to be free, except when you're on call. Just putting those things out there. And some people are receptive to that and some aren't.
What kept you in public service all this time? How long have you been doing this? You said 4 years here, and then before that?
Yeah, so I've been doing this about 23 years. All
right.
And I fell into public service. I didn't grow up saying, ooh, I want to serve, the people of where I live. I just really enjoy it. I enjoy working and making other employees' lives. If I can make it easier in some way, we'd all love to stay home and get paid and not have to go to work. So we have to go to work. So I want to make it as good of an experience as it can be. We have manual labor and it's hot. They're kind of like the post office. It doesn't matter if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's hot, they have to go out there. So, I try to do things that make people appreciate. Like one of the things is last summer I brought in a slushy truck. Those little cone slushies, that's nothing. I can't give you a lot of money, but I can appreciate you at the end of a hot day.
Sure.
You would be surprised at the people who, loved it.
Who wouldn't want a slushie in the middle of summer in Alabama?
Yeah.
Where did you put it? Was it out of the field or at the office?
Yeah, we have an operations center, and I just had it in the parking lot. So when they pulled in, it was playing the music, and it had the ice cone slushie. So they were all, I'm like, hey, y'all stop and grab you a slushie, All
right, everybody had one. Did you run over and have one yourself?
Oh yeah.
What? Okay, what flavor?
Grape.
Oh, grape. Okay. I'm a cherry guy. So according to a press release that the city put out about you, it said that you've done some work. It says you've had created training programs and you've had partnerships with educational organizations. How have you done that and what effect has that had? And is there a lesson here for other cities?
Yes, there really is. And I'm not gatekeeping anything. We are a small utility, even though we service like 19,000 different consumers, but we are small in number. And it's across the nation, doesn't matter where you're at, what state you're in, there are regulations for the people that work in this industry. And you have to keep up continuing education hours and pay for those certifications. So to do that, we all need to work together to kind of offset the cost for each other. Otherwise, we're just poaching each other's workers back and forth. But what I did was work with the local community college system through a grant program. I did all the legwork, applied, got these grants, and hosted these free open classes. And I didn't care where you worked at. Come and participate, get your CE hours, get your certification, and let's not have to pay out of pocket for that.
Sure. And have you continued this, or was it a one-time thing, or is it ongoing?
No, I'm continuing it. I ended up a little over $30,000 in grant money last year.
Okay, good.
I'm looking to do more this year. And that's not part of my job description. It was just a need that I saw. And other general managers at other places were like, shoot, yeah, if you'll do all the legwork, we'll participate.
Well, you have exactly just then summarized what it is to be a public service champion. You did something that was not really your job, and you went out and did it, and you accomplished it, and you've made people's lives better. No doubt this is why you were selected as a government champion. Is this what you see in people who work in government across the board?
No.
No? You're the only one doing this? No one else does what you do?
They do, depending on where you are in your career. Yeah. Sometimes in public service, you can get burnout really fast. But it's like any career, it's hills and valleys.
Sure.
Just everybody, it doesn't matter what job you're in, you're either on top of the mountain or you're down in the valley,
Right.
And yes, there are lots of people out there. And just like that, that's why I'm not gatekeeping anything. If I can help, matter of fact, I have a one-person HR department in California who wrote to me and asked me, could I send her one of our training programs? And I'm like, yes, don't reinvent the wheel. Just take mine and meld it to you, what works for you.
Right. So Anniston is sort of in central Alabama. You're not near a big city. You're sort of kind of a rural city, I guess, is the best way to describe it. So you're sort of out there on your own. How hard is it to find people to come work for you and work for the city?
I do a lot of word of mouth hiring. I do a lot of Facebook,
Okay.
Social media, the days of newspapers. I've tried the Indeed route, but really social media has been, they have those what's happening in whatever city.
Sure.
And I can post in there.
All right. So you're trying to knock on every door to see which door works. If you had somebody in your office right now and they were thinking about coming to work for the city of Anniston, what's the thing you would tell them? What would you say about public service and about a career in public service?
It's really worthwhile.
Why?
You got to stick it out, but there's something to be said for the feeling that you get when you're serving those constituents or those consumers. Even though they may not know it or appreciate it, we never hear from the people when you're doing a good job. You only hear from people when you're doing a bad job or when the water line breaks.
Right.
If people can't take a shower. That's when you hear from them. But the things that we do, and it's amazing what you can accomplish when you work together. And it is worthwhile, at the end of the day, not only in the feeling, but in the retirement that you get, and the ability to retire and know that you have a solid retirement plan. It's not going to go under. Water is something that everybody's always going to need. AI is not going to take away water. Computers aren't going to take away water. It's not something that it's going to diminish over time.
Okay. So I'm going to come back and I'm going to ask you the questions I ask every mayor I talk to, and we're going to do that next. The Good Government Show is sponsored by Our. That's OUR for Our Community. Get involved. We hear that all the time from government leaders. Our co-brands with your government's name and logo. Your staff and the people you serve are connected and part of your community. From any device, your members provide reliable data and meaningful feedback. Ask a question like, do we want more parkland or better homeless services? More engaged conversations come through the Our app. Visit Ourco, that's OURCO.com, and book a demonstration. After you get done with this episode, hear more good government stories with our friends at How to Really Run a City. Former mayors Kasim Reed of Atlanta and Michael Nutter of Philadelphia, and their co-host, journalist and author Larry Platt, talk with guests and other mayors about how to really get stuff done in cities around the nation. Check them out where you're listening now or through their nonprofit news site, thephiladelphiacitizen.org/podcasts. Across America, there's a growing demand for leadership that delivers results. The Good Government Institute brings together proven ideas, principled leaders, and real-world solutions. We talk about what works. We talk about the best in government and in public service. On our flagship podcast, The Good Government Show, we talk about what makes good citizens. Our guests are government leaders who share great ideas and what public service means to all of us. Visit goodgovinstitute.org to learn more. That's goodgovinstitute.org. So I have a questionnaire that I ask, and usually I ask this of mayors and city leaders, government leaders. You're a public servant here in the Anniston Waterworks and Sewer Board, and you are the Human Resources Manager. You're HR, you're there. So my first question is the hardest. What is good government? Define it. What's your definition of good government?
Good communication and transparency.
That's simple.
That's simple.
Nothing tricky to it at all.
No, I don't think it is. The more people understand the why behind something, even if they don't like it, you're being transparent. This is why we have to do this. And I think if you communicate and be transparent, it works.
If people don't like the way government is working, if they don't like what they're seeing in the city of Anniston, or if they, don't think their water is clean, what should they do?
Be involved. you can call and complain, but it's more of what can I do to help? What can I do? Even if you're not employed by someone, keeping your meters cleaned out around your meter at your house. Just small
Help
things.
out the meter reader.
Yeah, help out the people that have to come out,
So you said 23 years you've been doing this. You said you sort of fell into this, but what drew you to public service initially, and what kept you staying here for 23 years?
The people. I enjoy the people. Now, don't get me wrong. I got some hot mess of some people, but the majority of them are very appreciative.
Bless their hearts.
Yeah, bless their hearts. God bless them.
Very self-expressive. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, in the South, if you say bless their heart,
You're really saying, excuse me. Anyway, we'll come back to that in just a moment. But so who inspires you? Who inspired you to get involved, and who inspires you to stay?
I've had some really good supervisors over the years, some bosses. I had a mentor. I just really like the way, she and I are completely different in the way we approach HR. But she was my mentor, and it made me push and want to be more in the HR field, because I started in the payroll side. And I like that. I like the payroll benefits side. But, I followed her footsteps into the HR realm.
Gotcha.
And then I have a boss now who gives me just enough rope to hang myself or make something fabulous. All
right. So to hang yourself or make something fabulous. Do you have a political hero? Is there someone in government or in politics that inspires you?
No.
No?
Actually, I'm probably the most apathetic person you'll see about politics.
No.
And that is shocking. I know. I know it is. But I'm all about the worker bee.
Okay.
Well,
it must be working. That's why you were cited. Did you see yourself, when you were starting out, did you think, oh, I want to work for the city? Or were you like, oh, I want to work for, a big corporation and become president?
I didn't see myself working for the city, but I had an opportunity to work where I live. I don't live here in Anniston. I live a short distance away. And started working in the police department, honestly.
Okay. All right.
And kind of went from there. And then I've just stayed in public service since then.
So when you're home, do you turn the water on and go, the water's better in Anniston?
No, because actually where I live, they buy water from us here in Anniston.
Oh,
so
all right.
I'm like, that's the best water you can get.
So you're constantly monitoring the water.
Yeah.
What would you like someone, you said you've had a lot of different roles. You payroll, you talked about the police department. Now you're in HR for the water management and sewer board. What would you like people to know about government that they don't know?
A lot of people feel like government's ripping them off, taking advantage of the little person. And they're really not. There is a lot of rules and regulations that employees in government have to follow. There is misspent money in all kind of places. And I acknowledge that. And I actually have this conversation with my husband a lot. Tax monies are pinpointed. They have to be used in certain ways. And grant monies are the same way. People will say, well, they're building this park over here and we need our road paved. Well, that money is earmarked grant, has to be used for recreational purposes. So a city may be doing that. And then that goes back to the transparency and the communication. If we just tell people, like these grants that I'm getting for training, I can't give everybody a lump sum one-time attaboy payment. It has to be used for training. And I tell my guys that. Okay.
What's the best part of your job?
The best part of my job. And I know this sounds funny, but it is the people. They are, as much as they get on my nerves, they are human beings with problems and things happening at home and outside. And if there's anything I can do to help provide resources or just, a lot of times people just want to come in my office and complain. They don't really want you to fix anything. They just want to get it off their chest. And I'm okay with that. I'm kind of thick-skinned, and I'm okay with that.
How does that happen often?
Oh, all the time.
So I have never been to Anniston. If I'm coming and you're meeting me out for lunch, where are we going? What are we having? What's the one thing you have to try in Anniston? And it can be barbecue because this is Alabama.
Well, I was going to say barbecue.
Well, please do that. Go ahead. I'm okay.
Yeah, we got some really good barbecue here in Anniston, Alabama.
All right. What's your dish? What do you order? What's your order?
Oh, the pulled pork baked potato.
The pulled pork baked potato. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. I'm all about barbecue. No problem there. What do you do for fun?
Well, I coach volleyball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I read a lot. I read a lot. But I coach volleyball, and it's so funny because you can apply things from HR to your volleyball team.
I bet. Do you sometimes have to use the same voice and go, all right, kids, now here's what we're going to do?
Yeah, I have been known to, I'm usually pretty calm and laid back, but I did kind of snap this past season during one game. So,
what do you think is the most important part of the Anniston Waterworks and Sewer Board's work?
Is just maintaining those standards to make sure that our water is above par. We don't believe in just meeting the standard. We go above and beyond. And the same thing on our sewer. We have to treat water that goes back into the creeks and rivers around here. And so what water we put back in is better quality than what's in there now.
This is the Good Government Show, and we always bring it back to good government. Tell me about a good government project that you've had a hand in at the Water and Sewer Works that you're excited about.
Well, right now, we have a leadership program here within Anniston Waterworks, trying to be proactive instead of reactive, because as we have employees retire out, we're trying to prepare that next generation that's coming through the system. And so normally you see people promoted because they've got great technical skills, but they don't have a clue what they do in supervising people. So we have classes, we have things go on that teach them. And sometimes they'll go through these classes and they'll be, that's not for me. I just want to be the worker bee. I don't want to move up.
All right. Well,
and then you'll have people say, they'll say, I want to do this. And I said, well, you better start treating people a little bit,
All right.
Because one day those people are going to be the ones, that you will have to serve.
So you're finding the next generation of leaders. You're already starting. Kelli Bentley, you are the Anniston Waterworks and Sewer Board Human Resources Manager, and you are also a National Academy of Public Administration, one of the 250 government champions. Congratulations. Great to talk to you, and thanks for giving us some insight in what it's like to, be a public servant and one of those people that you don't necessarily see every day. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
Great talking to you. Thank you. The Good Government Institute has a new partner, the Charles F. Kettering Foundation. I really like their podcast, The Context, and I bet you will too. They have a new series called Democracy Under Construction. The show is hosted by historian Alex Lovett, and he looks back at the first 250 years of U.S. history. Alex digs into the moments that have pushed us towards an inclusive democracy. You can find it wherever you're listening right now, or visit kettering.org and give him a follow. Want to hear more about good government? Check out another show I host, Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. I host the show with Brad Kavanaugh, Mayor of Dubuque, Iowa, and the immediate past president of the Iowa League of Cities. Together, we talk to leaders in Iowa cities. We talk about what works and what good government looks like in Iowa. Join us right here where you're listening now. That's Leading Iowa, Good Government in Iowa Cities. What if Lincoln hadn't been shot? What if World War I hadn't happened? Jim Ludlow, Good Government Show executive producer, explores both those ideas in 2 books. In Lincoln, Beyond the Bullet, he imagines that Lincoln lives. In Royal Cousins, he imagines what would have happened if 3 kings, all cousins, hadn't blundered their way into war. What if? Think about it. Go to goodgovinstitute.org/books and order a copy. Sometimes people just want to come into my office and complain, and I'm fine with that. Well, that's the hard part of working in public service. So says Kelli Bentley, the Human Resource Manager for the Anniston, Alabama Waterworks and Sewer Board. But she had some really great insights into hiring and promoting people in city offices. I think taking pictures of the city sewer system is a great idea. It lets you know it's not just standing around in the sewer, and it does give potential hires a small preview of what they might be in for. Now, folks, go make sure your city's meter reader can get to the dials in your house. Help them out. That's our show. Thanks for listening. Please like us and share us with your friends and review us right here where you're listening. It matters. And check out our website, goodgovernmentshow.com, for extras. Help us keep telling stories of good government in action everywhere. Join us again for another episode right here. I'm Dave Martin, and this is The Good Government Show. The Good Government Show is produced by the Good Government Institute, a nonprofit organization promoting civic engagement and civic education. All donations to the show help promote trust in government. You can donate at goodgovinstitute.org. That's goodgovinstitute.org. Executive producers are Jim Ludlow, Dave Martin, that's me, and David Snyder. Jason Stershik is our editor and producer. Join us again to hear good stories about our government right here on The Good Government Show.
This podcast is part of the Democracy Group,